Good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Scott Grimes, Superintendent of Dallas Center Grimes Community School District. Also presenting tonight is Jill Van Workum, Associate Superintendent of Dallas Center Grimes Community School District. And we appreciate you taking the time to join us, as well as submitting the many questions for us to hopefully we're able to get some clarification on tonight. The overview of tonight, we have scheduled an hour and a half this evening. We may not need the whole time, but we wanted to allow enough time to cover the important topics related to returning to school next month. The information shared this evening has been presented to the school board. We have three focuses this year, and these are not in specific order. Safety and health of your children and our staff, the social and emotional and mental health of our children and our staff, and the academic achievement of each child in the DCG school district. Everything we do this year will be through the lens of part of our educational model. That includes the curriculum, the environment, the relationships, as well as the technology. And during these times, all four of these items is key for our success. I'm now going to turn it over to Jill to discuss the overview of the three learning models.
Good evening. I too want to thank you for spending time tonight and the time you spent in giving us questions so that we were prepared well tonight. The three plans that our district submitted to the state consisted of on-site, hybrid, and off-site continuous learning. The first plan is an on-site plan because we know the importance of in-person learning, and we are committed to ensuring that school occurs with reasonable safety modifications. The value in caring friends, classmates, and staff is essential to the mental well-being of your child. Keeping in mind our on-site learning will look different than it has in the past. And as we consider your child's school day, we're planning for social distancing in all aspects of the school day, from transportation, hallway traffic flow, student schedules to lunch, athletics, activities. We are committed to the safety of your child and of our staff. Guidance from the Iowa Department of Public Health and the Iowa Department of Education will continue to impact our planning. In this model of on-site learning, facial coverings will be required for staff and students. Parents and volunteers will, in general, be discouraged from entering the school buildings. We continue to remind ourselves that things will look different than years past when returning to school next month. The second model that the state asked us to plan for is a hybrid learning model. The purpose of a hybrid learning model really is to provide an approach to instruction that allows 50% of our students to attend on-site in person and allow for greater physical and social distancing and increased health and safety mitigation. Since our plans were shared with our DCG families, the governor has issued a proclamation regarding students' attendance on site. This will require our district to revise our hybrid plan. In this hybrid learning model, instruction will follow a 2-week cycle where students engage with 50% of their learning on site and 50% of their learning at home. The model provides an increased, although not guaranteed, ability to provide 6 feet of physical distancing in a school setting. And it gives us the ability to provide that to the greatest extent possible. Right now, we're considering the 3 following options if the model would be chosen to be used during a school year. One model is that the student groups would attend every other day in an alternating schedule of A, B, A, B. The second consideration would be groups of students attending school following 3 days with an A group, 2 days with a B. The next week, 3 days with a B group, 2 days with an A group. The last schedule that is being considered would be our school groups, our student groups attending following 3 days with our A group, 2 days with B. Then in our second week, we would begin with 2 days with our A student group, 3 days with B student group. Again, like our on-site model, facial coverings will be required for both students and staff. And we're going to work to provide time during the day to give facial covering breaks in an on-site and the hybrid model. But we believe the majority of our day with students and staff will be spent wearing face coverings. In a hybrid model, when students are not on site, they will be provided with required educational activities to complete. They could be hard copy or digital. They will come from our own teachers, from their classroom teachers. If we go to a hybrid learning model, we will be able, our intent is to keep households together using our function within Infinite Campus to assign students from one family unit to attend in the same group. In both the on-site and hybrid models, there is an online learning option. All families in our DCG district have the choice based on concern or need for an online learning option. The online learning option will be a K-12 curriculum. It is aligned to the Common Core standards and taught by a licensed teacher. Participation is required and attendance will be taken. Grades also will be given, and at the secondary level, credits will still be earned. This online learning option is available a semester at a time. It would be a commitment for a semester participation in that online learning option. The third model that we have submitted to the state is the off-site continuous learning model. With this model, if we have to plan for a possible school closure, like we experienced last spring, if we are required to close any of our school buildings during the school year as a result of COVID, we must plan for that off-site continuous learning. The plan will only be implemented if the Iowa Department of if the Iowa Department of Education or the Department of Public Health approves a change to that off-site continuous learning model due to any public health concerns. The required continuous learning will be graded, student attendance will be taken, and in the secondary, again, credits will be earned. In the off-site continuous learning model, again, students will be provided with required educational activities that they will complete. Again, this could be digital or hard copy. In this model, this truly is a continued learning from their classroom teacher. Live sessions would be hosted via Zoom or Google Meet. Sessions can be, the sessions may be recorded. We would use district guidance on best practice in hosting and participation in any online class would be taught and monitored by DCG staff. Recorded sessions in this model would be hosted through Seesaw and Google Classroom. In this model, all state requirements for student equity will be met, such as students with individual education plans, 504 plans, our English language learners, as examples. In talking about meeting our student needs, when we're engaging in any of our educational models, whether it would be on-site, in a hybrid setting, or the off-site continuous learning, or if a family has chosen a remote online choice, we still will be paying attention and providing equity for our students. There are requirements around student equity that will be met. Again, individual education plans, 504 plans, our English language learners. Every district has requirements around student equity for those needing accommodations so that they can be successful. Our district is working very closely with Heartland AEA as well as the Department of Education to ensure that our laws and the requirements are being upheld in each of those three learning models. Mr. Grimes spoke to this when we first came online at 7 tonight, in our focuses being safety and health, social, emotional, and behavior, and mental health supports, as well as academics. It is a commitment at DCG. We understand and we are committed to not only supporting the academic needs of our students, but also those social, emotional, behavior, and mental health needs. As part of this commitment, we are providing in the upcoming school year professional development in the area of social, emotional, mental health for our students and staff. This will be offered to our certified staff as well as our associates. We're also very fortunate in our district to have a partnership with Employee and Family Resources. Some of you will recognize the acronym of EFR. They provide mental health supports to our DCG families, our students, and staff members. Again, each of those three models, on-site, hybrid, off-site, continuous learning, as well as the remote learning choice, have specific actions in those models to support social, emotional behavior, and mental health of our students and staff. Now it's Mr. Grimes' turn, and I'm going to let him talk about our delivery models.
Thank you, Jill. The delivery models that we've been discussing, and understand that our goal is to be on site. And we know that we have come to a time when we have to move to a different model. The governor and the Department of Education will be providing the guidance to districts as to when it is recommended to move to a different learning model. In addition, we are working in partnership with the Iowa Department of Public Health, with both Polk County and Dallas County Emergency Management to create metric for a decision-making process around the delivery models, as well as the appropriate protocols to follow when a student or staff member has been diagnosed with COVID-19. I want to take a little time to review the governor's proclamation on July 14th. The districts are to provide, at the first priority, in-person instruction with an emphasis on what we often describe as traditional core classes: literacy, math, science, and other classes. Districts have the authority to implement local return to learn plans. Authority is also given for parental choice for fully online education from options provided by the local districts. And that was shared by Jill about the option for families to choose online learning versus in-person. Districts also have the local authority to use temporary off-site continuous learning for individual students and classrooms, as well as for inclement weather days, often referred to as snow days. The decision for a temporary school or district closure requires approval from the Iowa Department of Education in consultation with the Iowa Department of Public Health. A district will need to get advice of when we can move to a temporary school closure. This is relief in the proclamation for accessing probable larger pool of substitute teachers through temporary changes to certification requirements, as well as the removal of some limitations on the number of days a substitute can teach in or a school district. We understand as a district that we need everyone within our district to support and educate in all capacities during this time. And that proclamation has allowed some more flexibility for us with staffing to help support that. A lot of the other areas that I'll be discussing were kind of large groups of questions we had come in. Although we may not have the answers today, we know that we need to have them soon so that parents, staff, and students have a better understanding as we move forward. A little bit about the health and safety, a question about health screenings. Students will not be screened at school with an on-site learning. Parents will be given information of symptoms to look for to screen their child daily before sending them to school. This would be the same expectation for our staff. Students and staff who are ill or exhibiting any symptoms of illness should not come to school or work. Staff and students who have been exposed to a person with confirmed diagnosis of COVID-19 should follow current CDC recommendations to stay home and monitor their health. And we will also be having conversations about what that looks like within the school setting. Other health and safety, a lot of questions around cleaning and sanitization. We understand as a district, we need to ensure that our buildings are clean, well-maintained, but often going to a higher extent for the need for safety. While cleaning and sanitizing steps will be taken in classrooms and buildings, custodians will conduct a cleaning, sanitizing of each school nightly using COVID-19 approved disinfectants. Custodians will use disinfectant electrostatic sprayers to ensure hard to reach places and materials are sanitized. This was an addition from last year, knowing that we needed to increase our sanitizing and cleanliness. Custodians will clean and sanitize each night frequently touched areas, surfaces, and items by staff and students. This includes desks, tables, doorknobs, light switches, as per faculty guidelines. Hand sanitizer stations will be put in every classroom and throughout the school. Students and staff will be encouraged to avoid electronic devices, toys, books, and other games or learning aids. We'll avoid sharing those items. Student belongings will be separated from others and individually labeled. We are in the process of securing additional supplies to minimize sharing of high-touch materials to the extent possible. Example, assigning each student their own art supplies, equipment, or we may limit use of supplies and equipment by one group of children at a time and clean and disinfect between use. Other areas in this, we know that it not only stops from the district level and the expectations we have, but each of our buildings will be developing an implementation plan that will include social distancing practices throughout their spaces. Information will be coming in the future regarding individual building plans and how we will best meet the needs of social distancing as well as cleaning and disinfecting. In COVID instances, we're working in partnership with the Iowa Department of Public Health and both Polk and Dallas County Emergency Management to create a metric for a decision-making process around, as well as the appropriate protocols to follow when a student or staff member has been diagnosed with COVID-19. I believe this doesn't just go with our students and staff, but possibly of communication or information of family members that may have been in contact with COVID-19. At this time, we are waiting on guidance on contact tracing and the steps taken to help others identify when there has been a positive case. It is important that we maintain both health information privacy and family privacy when there has been a positive case. Every health and safety measure we are taking in the district is recommended by the Iowa Department of Public Health to reduce the likelihood of exposure. And one of those recommendations is facial coverings. Facial coverings are mandatory for all staff and students. When appropriate, face shields can be worn. We're requiring face coverings for the safety and health of not only our students and our staff as we return to learn. Facial coverings may include face masks, neck gaiters to protect against COVID-19. Students will be allowed to wear face shields if preferred. And through that, we are also supplying every staff member with masks as well as face shields so that they have the appropriate needs for their classrooms. An exciting part of, I would say, an opportunity for us due to COVID-19 is we had the opportunity to increase our one-to-one device program. Understand this program last year was 8th through 12th grade. We already had plans to move it to 6th through 7th and then 5th grade in another year. But we decided to provide opportunity for our students as well as an opportunity for some social distancing by using technology in the classroom. We'll be expanding our program to each student in grades 3 through 12th with their own Chromebook. This decision is a significant commitment of our Dallas Center Grimes School Board. We are currently reviewing the availability of iPad devices for students in PK through 2nd grade. We were able to provide an iPad for any families that need a device to continue off-site continuous learning in kindergarten, pre-kindergarten through 2nd grade. Technology access is something that we want to make sure, and our survey showed that some families do need access to technology. DCG has taken the steps to reduce the technology access barrier for our students and families. We've secured hotspots for families that do not have access to the internet. These will be available for check-in, or check-out to families who do not have internet access. These hotspots provide wireless internet connections that can connect 4 to 5 devices simultaneously, allowing students without internet access to have it available. Transportation, pay to ride. Due to the restrictions and recommendations related to the spread of COVID-19 virus, our school will not be able to provide optional pay to ride school bus services to parents for the first semester of the 2021 school year. We will be assessing that towards semester to see if it's something we can bring back at that time. Understand that our bus routes have limited capacity now due to working on social distancing and requiring masks on buses. This reduces the opportunity in seats on buses for us to be able to provide pay to ride. It also gives us the flexibility if we were to need to change times of students and to provide other opportunities in transportation to schools. For the parents that have paid for this service, I believe you have been notified and a refund will be issued. Health and safety in our transportation is just as important as in the classroom and as well as the school building. It is our job to provide a safe, healthy means in all forms of what we provide as public education. Our drivers will be required to wear face coverings. They'll be cleaning and disinfecting vehicles between routes. Sanitizer is available upon every bus. Additionally, DCG students will wear a mask when riding the bus. Students will be assigned 2 per seat, prioritizing students from the same household in the same seat. Food service and working on ways to limit opportunity for spread. Taher, the district's food service contractor, has provided a comprehensive return to open playbook. for its staff to operate food service as safely as possible for the COVID-19 environment. Pre-shift health screenings will occur daily. All TAHR staff will be wearing face coverings, masks, and those who have direct interaction with students, such as the cashiers, will also be required to wear face shields. TAHR has developed guidelines for enhanced cleaning and sanitizing procedures for COVID-19 in the event as high-touch surfaces. Our mitigation food service options that are being considered include a prepackaged meal components with plastic utensils. Meal components will be placed in disposable bags and students will be able to take their meals to their designated dining area. This will allow students to eat in a reduced capacity cafeteria, classroom, or other alternate locations. Disposable receptacles will be located near the designated dining areas to avoid returning items to the food preparation areas. At elementary, best practice will be to keep students with their classroom cohorts for meal, pickup, and dining. At middle school and high school, students will be asked to enter their PIN numbers using the DCG app to avoid touching the keypad. We're also planning with TAHR meals the options of hot as well as cold opportunities for our students. I believe people believe grab and go is cold only, but TAHR is shown and is providing an opportunity for students to have hot lunches as well. Childcare is also something that many people are thinking about. We have been in contact with our before and after school care providers. If we are in an on-site learning model, space will be available for them to continue their programs before and after school. If we are in a hybrid or off-site model, care will not be able to be provided in our school buildings, as we will need all the available spaces for possible social distancing opportunities for our classrooms. Daycare has always been a concern in our communities and is part of our growing nature. Our timelines for this is we're looking at presenting final return to learn plans, the feedback we have received from all of our surveys, as well as emails and communications we've had with other districts. School board meeting August 3rd will be when our board reviews the final plans, and they will also be acting on the recommendation, which currently is to start on site with the opportunity for families to choose online services. Communication will go out to staff and families this week of August 3rd if we would not start in the online learning model. As in the past, Billings will be communicating with families on beginning of the year details. We have changed the school start date to August 27th. This date allows more time for us to meet the needs of our staff for social emotional training, as well as online and preparing for whichever model we choose to go with. Tomorrow, you'll be receiving an email in order to gain an understanding of how students plan to attend on-site learning tomorrow. We will be sending a survey to make selection on how they will be learning regardless of the model chosen. As of now, our goal is to welcome all students back for an in-person learning on Thursday, August 27th. With this model, students and staff will be required to wear face coverings. This survey will allow us to plan for students that will be in buildings and students that will be online learning, regardless of what learning model we have in place. The choice is up to you for each of your children on how you would like them to be educated next year. As you are making your selection for upcoming school year, this is a commitment for the semester. Once a child has made their selection, they'll be required to complete the semester with the choice selected. Please have this completed by Friday, July 31st, and details will be in the email sent out. In closing, we're working closely with the Department of Education, the Iowa Department of Public Health, both Polk County and Dallas County public health entities, our local metro school districts, while making decisions for the upcoming school year. I want to acknowledge this year will be challenging for families, students, and educators. However, with challenge comes adversity and perseverance. I know we will rise to the challenge and continue our tradition of excellence. I want to thank the administration and the cabinet groups for their countless hours spent making these plans. I also want to thank the teachers and staff for showing resiliency and working so hard to provide positive learning opportunities for our students this school year. We're in uncharted territory, and I appreciate your grace and understanding during this time. We're all in this together, and thank you for joining this evening.